April 1975. Saigon still looked alive. Cafes were open, scooters moved through the streets, and flags still flew over government buildings. But beneath the noise, panic was spreading. The war had lasted decades, and now everything was collapsing at once. North Vietnamese forces were advancing faster than anyone expected. Entire provinces were falling in days. In Washington, President Gerald Ford watched the reports pile onto his desk. Every hour brought worse news. Towns abandoned, defenses broken, refugees flooding south. South Vietnam's army had once seemed massive. Now units were retreating in chaos. Roads became rivers of civilians. Families carried bags, children, and whatever remained of home. The closer the northern troops moved, the more fear spread through Saigon. Ford faced an impossible question. Could America still save its ally? Congress had little appetite for more war. Vietnam had already exhausted the nation. Ford asked for emergency military aid anyway. The answer was cold. Washington had reached its limit. Saigon would largely stand alone. Inside South Vietnam's government, officials began losing hope. President Nguyen Van Thieu publicly blamed America for abandoning them. Then he resigned and left the country. That moment shattered morale across Saigon. Soldiers deserted checkpoints, officers burned papers. The American embassy suddenly became the center of desperate planning. U.S. diplomats prepared evacuation lists. Thousands of South Vietnamese begged for a place on them. Friends, translators, military allies, people America had worked with for years. But there were too many, far more than aircraft could carry. On April 28th, rockets hit Saigon. The city froze. The war had finally reached the capital. At the airport, explosions shut down fixed-wing evacuations. That changed everything. Helicopters would now carry out the final escape. A coded message played for Americans across the city. A white Christmas echoed through radios in tropical heat. That was the signal: leave immediately. Helicopters landed on rooftops as crowds surged through embassy gates. Marines held the perimeter while desperate civilians pushed forward. Some climbed walls, others pleaded for one final chance. The sound of rotor blades never stopped. Through the night, helicopters lifted people toward waiting ships offshore. Behind them, Saigon darkened under smoke and confusion. At dawn on April 30th, the final Americans were pulled from the embassy roof. Hours later, North Vietnamese tanks rolled into the city. The South Vietnamese flag came down. The war was over. For Gerald Ford and America, Saigon became the final image of Vietnam. Helicopters rising into the sky, while an entire era collapsed below.